Good morning. Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the Eating at a Meeting podcast live. I am your host, Tracy Stuckrath, and I am actually here in Las Vegas live at the PCMA Convening Leaders. And I wanted to just talk to you about and share with you what I've seen the last couple of days in food and beverage and, um, you know, and learning from other people and seeing what Caesars has done and some other events that I've done and just share with you some of those things that I've seen. I did have a great conversation with two of the team members from Caesars the other day, talking about sustainability and labeling and a variety of other things. And PCMA's got about 2,500 attendees here, and which is a great turnout for the show. And when I was talking to Michelle, who is the director of catering sales for Caesars Entertainment globally, she was letting me know that the show itself, for attendee wise, let's just talk dietary needs, has 70 vegetarian attendees, 22 vegans, 81 gluten free, 93 shellfish allergy, 39 nut allergy, 65 lactose intolerance, 75 no red meat, 64 pescatarians, and one kosher. So I haven't done the statistics on what that is overall. I haven't added that up to figure that out, but at least 10% of the attendees have some sort of dietary need. Jen, thank you so much for telling me that my sound sounds just fine. I appreciate it. Yay. Because I am on the show floor and I want everybody to make sure they can hear me properly. But, talking to Caesars the other day, we're talking about sustainability and, their practices that they have in place. You can actually find on Caesars website. And I'll share that link later. To find out what practices they actually already have in place in their properties and what they're doing. But it does rely on planners to say, hey, this is what we want to do. So you have to look at those guidelines that they have, or not guidelines, but what they already do, the practices they already have in place, and say, hey, I want to do this too. Or come to them with things that you want to do. And that is from what kind of plating that you want to do, what kind of, do you want to do any donations after the fact, food, things like that. So monitoring the water, monitoring the air conditioner, sorting, recycling, et cetera. So look at what practices they have and then talk to them about what you want to do and what you want to obtain or not obtain, accomplish with your event as far as sustainability is concerned. When I was talking to her and John, who actually is the director of operations for Caesars in Atlantic City over the waterfront, the Tropicana and the Harrah's Resort, talking operationally wise, it's really interesting to learn that when you're talking food and beverage, you've got the executive chefs, but you also have the front of house operations team. And I thought this was an interesting tidbit, is that the operations team, and it may just be for this Caesars Forum here in Las Vegas, but the operations team is the one that actually is ordering the sodas and the break foods, whereas the chefs are ordering the food for the other culinary catered events. So we have different people that we need to make sure that are creating the menus that we want and ordering the things that we want. We did talk about also getting the food and beverage in because of the food shortages that we have right now. And they haven't really seen too big of an impact yet. So it'll be interesting to see as larger groups come back into place. Will they have any impact on that? But one item that I've heard a lot of having a hard time getting is Gatorade. And it's not necessarily that they don't have the product, but the distributors don't have the staff to deliver it to them, to the clients. So we need to be really looking at that and what we want to have on. Talking to them about food and beverage trends, well, more specifically beverage trends. Michelle said, the non-alcoholic beverages are definitely a thing that we need to pay attention to. They have not dropped, they're actually skyrocketing, and we need to talk to them about what we want to serve. So they might not have it listed on their catering menu, different mocktails or different non-alcoholic beverages besides the standard sodas and water that we have. So if you have something that you want to add, definitely make sure that you ask for it well in advance so they can place the orders, because you never know when they can get that or not. So, and they probably don't have it in stock, because Steve mentioned you can't keep things in stock that aren't necessarily going to be ordered by every single meeting group that's in town or in the property. So, but now I want to go through and show you some slides of some food that I've seen and some comments that I have about food and beverage. Overall, I think Caesars has done a great job in the presentation and the service levels that they've provided us here at the convention. I have not had the opportunity to talk to anybody from PCMA, even though I've requested it. So these are what I'm showing you are my comments and anything that I've heard from the Caesars team. So let's get started with some slides on food and beverage. I'm going to change my little layout here. Okay, food and beverage at convening leaders. So this one slide, we're just going to go to the next one. I think this is one presentation. This was the opening night reception. I love that Caesars has these square bowls, and it's, pick up and go. There's not a server there, so this is self-serve. But I do like the different style bowls that they have, and easy to carry around with you when you're moving around the space. That's a close-up, and this was a kale wrap that was vegan, and I think it was vegan and gluten-free, or vegetarian and gluten-free. So it was delicious. And I also wanted to show they actually had walk-up action stations with chefs that were carving a variety of different foods, and I'll show you some of those foods as well. They also had these plates that are on the table next to the chef, or in front of that other chef back there, that were already pre-plated, and you can go up and pick them up, and I'll show you some of those too. Here's one of the action stations with the cart with the chef. Somebody did comment to me that they didn't like that all this fresh fruit food was used as decor on these action stations, because what's going to happen to it after the fact? It's probably going to get thrown away. And this one person decided to pick up one of those peppers and eat them himself. So I thought that was interesting. But here's a close-up of one of the action stations. This is actually a vegan gluten-free dish. It was a potato mushroom parve. I think that's how you say it. But it was slices of potatoes and slices of mushrooms. Very delicious. And then this is another table. I like this table. The decor, the light up, I'm showing it to you inside. This is the same exact reception. And so I do like the fact that the reception was inside and outside. It did get a little bit chilly outside. So anybody that wanted to come inside, they could actually get all of the same food that was outside inside. But I do like the colorful table, and outside, I think they were pink. The lights changed. So that was kind of fun. This is a grab and go poke bowls that they had. Lynn, I'll get to you in a second. These are grab and go poke bowls that had a different variety of them. I think these were the tofu ones. So they did have a vegan option, and but I liked they had a separate lid on there that was screw off and grab and go. So that was a good presentation. I think this was the lamb shank that was served, and as you can see, it's already pre-plated and ready to pick up by anybody. And I'm gonna put this question up here. Lynn, how would you compare the food to WEC? To be honest with you, I think it was probably a little bit elevated from WEC. This show, we did not have any we didn't have any box lunches to pick up and go. Everything was either served by an attendant or self-serve. There was or grab and go. There were no box lunches per se, like we had at a couple of the WEC events, and there was no seated and served plated dinner or plated lunch. So that was the difference. This has all been buffet style or tapas. So that's one big difference on that. Here's the salmon. This was a poached salmon that was available as well. The desserts completely wowed me. I love the presentation style. So you had some pops, popsicle kind of cupcakes and some other cakes there. They were delicious. These pop art was awesome. I love the presentation here. Grab and go, as you can see right next to it, I'm going to show you in a little bit, is these are snow cones with cotton candy and in a ice cream cone. We're going to jump to breakfast this was on Tuesday morning. I love the presentation style. Again, Caesars is using these fun glassware, and I'll show you some other ones here. They use these for their parfaits. Really love them, and just I love the color, and I love just the presentation of them all. So here is some macerated fruit that was served, and I love that they put this golden berry in here with the leaves in it to add some additional texture to it. But those are using regular bar glasses for serving the fruit, and I love that. Francois, they've done a really good presentation. I really do love what they've shown. Seating arrangements, I'm going to get to that in just a second. So somebody's asking, what are the seating arrangements for consuming all of this lovely food? And I'm going to show you that in a few minutes, okay? Here is a presentation of some biscotti, and actually going back to Lynn's question of comparing it to WEC, I love this because it's actually each different biscotti is in a different wrapper, whereas at the other event, there were 3 biscottis in one container, and one contained nuts, the other one didn't, so it was cross contact. And I'll talk about the labeling of this in the other one, but and coming up in another slide. But I do like this fun presentation, grab and go biscottis. Here's a mango chia pudding, and again, they're using some fun glassware to do that with the spoon already in the dish. Here is a presentation of different sliders, and these were all like lobster rolls actually, and one was a shrimp roll, one was a lobster roll, and one was a crab roll, which was actually made, it was a vegan crab roll. Vegan crab roll was actually made out of hearts of palm, and everybody who ate it said it was delicious. I love, this was a soup presentation, and I love the fact that they had the bread bowls as well as regular bowls for anyone who didn't want to eat out of the bread bowl. So that was a nice different thing to do there. And as you can see, a server is serving the soup. Here's a presentation of salads. On this presentation, there's some coleslaw, 2 different green salads, and right where this person's hand is in the front, that was a different variety of different fruit salads. So good variety there. This is a presentation walking through a standard buffet. So it was self-serve on this buffet, and a variety of different things in those chafing dishes. Again, just the presentation is great. I love these. These are all chocolate covered strawberries with different decor on them. This is grab and go afternoon break, bags of popcorn, bags of potato chips, and little glasses of macerated fruit, all grab and go. Here's an above shot of a bacon grab and go. And so these were caramelized bacon, different options that you could grab on that. So I love that presentation again. This presentation of muffins was actually from day 2, and I actually like it better than day 1 because all of the muffins were on the same tray. The challenge with this on the labeling is that there was only one label for all 5 of these trays. So I don't like that, but we'll talk about that later. I love this macaroon presentation that was on the tray with the strawberries, so got lots of fun. And here's another salad display. This was, I'll show you some signage for this in a few minutes, but this is a great presentation. I love their linenless tables that roll and go, really fun to do. Okay, so back to that. And now I'm gonna do seating arrangements. Let's do, oh, I had one on seating arrangements. Where did it go? I had another slide. So, oops, I don't want that one. Hang on. Let's talk about labeling real quick. So, you know, I'm picky about my labeling, how I want it done. And to me, Caesars does a good job. I think every property around the country could do a better job. It's just my personal opinion. But one of the things that I want to see across the board from all properties is consistency. And what I've learning from every property that I talk to is that it is typically the front of house staff that's making the labeling. And when I was talking to Michelle and Steve from Caesars, it's really important, they reiterated, it's really important to make sure that the labeling that we want is on the BEOs so that the staff who is making the labeling is aware of how it should be labeled. And those BEOs should be checked and double checked by the chefs. And to me personally, they should be checked by you as a planner. So just looking at some of these things, this first sign here, this is what I was saying, that one sign for all the pastries, assorted pastries, Danish, croissant, coffee cakes, muffins, vegetarian. I don't like the fact that it doesn't say it contains milk. It doesn't say it contains wheat. I know we probably all know that, but you know, it's something to me that's really important for allergen wise. And if it has eggs or nuts, and some of the signs say may contain nuts, and they're piling it all on. Some of them don't, and some of them do. So going back to that shrimp crudo presentation from the opening reception, you can see how they've labeled it dairy-free, gluten-free, contains nuts and shellfish. So I like that. And so I thought that presentation was really well done. And the assorted cake pops, it just says it's vegetarian. You know, some of the things that are on those cake pops and some of the other desserts probably have some nuts. It does contain egg, it does contain milk. What if it also contains soy? That some of those things might actually have soy in them. And I'm wanting you to label for the top 9 allergens. And which is wheat and soy, milk, egg, tree nuts, peanuts, fish, shellfish, and sesame. So I want you to label for all of those, because you never know when somebody's going to have an allergen that they didn't know. And to be honest with you, when I registered for the show, I registered as gluten-free, dairy-free. And because it's veganary, and I've said this in a couple of my shows, is that for January, I'm actually vegan. So I wrote in and said, hey, I need to add vegan to my registration so that I'm gluten-free vegan. And I was told just to talk to the banquet staff about what my options were when I got here. There's a feed in one of the Facebook groups that if you're gluten-free, you didn't have a good shot at eating lunch on Tuesday, or one of the days. And I have to be honest with you, I ate lunch that I purchased at Whole Foods. So because there was nothing labeled gluten-free and nothing that was gluten-free vegan either. So I had a hard time. But anyways, let's go here. So here's the neon cotton candy cones vegetarian. My challenge with this is that they're in ice cream cones. So we need to say that it contains gluten. It's not gluten-free. There's no note saying it's gluten-free, and there's no note saying that it contains gluten. So that needs to be something that we need to make sure that we're adding. And Christina, this goes back to your salad thing from like 5 or 6 years ago that you posted on my Facebook group, is like, this salad is not gluten-free because it's in an ice cream cone. Let's see, I'm gonna take off that banner. Here's for the salmon that I showed you a little while ago. It's got cherries, shallots, it's dairy-free, and it contains fish. It does not say that it contains wheat or gluten, and it does not say that it's gluten-free. So as somebody that's gluten-free, I'm not going to even try it because I don't know. So I'm hesitant about eating that. The parfaits, and I don't know if you can see that one up in the upper right-hand corner. Parfaits, fresh berries, Greek yogurt. So it says it's vegetarian, gluten-free, and contains nuts. The one in the upper right-hand corner is one from the next day, and the difference in it, sorry, it's too small, doesn't say contains nuts. So exact same ingredients that are listed there, but one says it contains nuts and one doesn't. So to me, I question that. Here's a soy lacquered short rib. It's got eggs, so it's nut free, but it doesn't, again, I know it's got bread on it, but let's say that it's gluten free. Assorted pastries and muffins. It's saying here that it's vegetarian, may contain nuts. So you're labeling for 4 different items on one sign, and they're all on the same plate. So I'm not a fan of that, because you're not distinguishing between which is which. And to me, that's a safety issue. Here are the biscottis. And so this is the challenge I had back at WEC as well. So there was one sign for all the biscottis, and same thing here. You don't know which one of these biscottis belongs to which one, and none of them are actually labeled if they have any nut. I mean, cocoa nibs, dried cherries, coffee dust. So that biscotti cocoa nibs, they actually might contain dairy in it because it might be milk chocolate versus dark chocolate. So why is that not done or listed on here? And then it says Norwegian smoked salmon dill cream cheese. So you can put that on the side, but that's not actually on the biscotti. So it's on the side, but they've got it on the same label. Confusing to me. Here is the presentation of the lobster rolls or seafood rolls. And so they all look exactly the same. And this one here, I want to bring attention to in the upper right-hand corner, which is the vegan one. But if you read the label, it says butter bun. So all of the sandwiches are served on the exact same roll, and they're all called a butter bun. So I'm really kind of hesitant to know, or I want to question, is that vegan sandwich actually vegan because it's on a butter bun? So just things, it's hard to do this. I'm not saying it's easy. It's 100% hard. But we have to have checks and balances across the board to kind of catch these things and how it's labeled. Here's some cookies. All the cookies were on the same tray. There's no labeling of anything of any sort whatsoever on which one's what. It does contain, one of them contains almonds, so it says contains tree nuts, but there's no other, contains dairy, contains wheat, eggs, etc. Here are the muffins in a different way with the one single sign for all of them. Showing you the coffee. So here's two different containers that look exactly the same with two different labels, 2% milk and fat-free milk. If me and Francois pick up the labels, pick up the bottles at the same time, how do we know which one to put them back in? As a planner, I find gluten-free vegan to be one of the hardest combos to accommodate 100%, but I'm going to show you some examples. I agree with that. It's not easy. I'm going to show you some things that I ate on an ancillary tour in a few minutes. So give me a few minutes to show that. Gary, the subtitles block out the signs on the food. Okay, I will, I'll figure out how to do that on another one. Thank you for letting me know. Here is some lemon curd and whipped cream. I find it interesting that whipped cream is labeled vegetarian, but lemon curd is not labeled, is not shown anything. So how do we manage that, right? So lemon curd actually contains eggs and dairy in it. So making sure that there's consistency in how we do this. Assorted house-made leathers. No idea what is in any of these things. So I didn't touch them. These are beautiful. I love these energy bar pops. Really do like them, but there's 3 different versions of them, but there's all labeled on one sign. And to me, they look different. So, but I don't know which one is which because they're all on the same tray. These signs were introduced on Tuesday or Wednesday's lunch. Love them. They were nice and big. You could see them from across the room. And, and somebody's like, well, we can use these and not have to put the labels on the tables, but going back to that lobster roll table, if you don't know which one's which. So you still need signage on the tables as well as these, but I love the fact that these were here. And they told you what was in them. The one thing that kind of bothers me is the fact that on the bottom of this lunch toast one, gluten-free available on request. So we've already requested it in our registration form, and so we have to ask differently, right? And sometimes there's not necessarily a server there to go get you one. So finding that was a challenge. Here's another one, the Petite Halal Station. Again, gluten-free halal, gluten-free available upon request. And Tracy, could you post a couple of the food cards on LinkedIn? Jerry, yes, I will do that as well. just confirm with me, you want the labeling that I've seen? Yes, I can do that. And this was interesting. This sign here, marinated vegetable station, and I did have this, but this purple frilly mustard, right? Like, it's got kale, shard lemon, pancetta, marinated fennel, farmer cheese, red wine vinegar. It's gluten-free and nut-free. But as you can see from this picture here, the salad is actually separate from the bacon and the cheese. The bacon is up in the upper right-hand corner. So this is actually labeled a little bit incorrectly, because I could actually eat the salad, which made it vegan. And then I put this beautiful charred cauliflower on top of it and ate that for my lunch. It was delicious. So looking at how we label things is really, really important. Room sets. Oops, I don't want that. So, oh yeah, room sets. Here we go. So going back to the Facebook user who asked me this isn't actually a picture from inside the convention center looking out to the outdoor reception. So we had the indoor-outdoor option, which is awesome. The garage doors of sorts was opened, which I thought was fantastic. The opening reception, we had different tables, 72-inch rounds around. Let me see where my next one is. You've got some high boy tables as well. The 6-foot tables were separated 6 feet apart. There were no more than 5 chairs per table at this reception. So I thought that was really good. And again, this was outside, so it warranted for a lot more space as well. You also had high boys and you had picnic tables. So those were scattered throughout the entire reception. I thought that was really well done. Here's a picture of it inside. You can see the tables are spaced. There are more chairs around these tables, and I'm going to sneeze. More chairs around these tables than there were outside. And I'm going to take you on a walk of the show floor in just a second. So you can see some other seating that's available. Actually, let's see if we can do this. So where I am right now, I'm sitting in the Indianapolis booth, but all these different types of chairs and seating available throughout the entire show. And you can see that there's this big high boy table here with lots of chairs there. There's some couches right over there with some table seating, and then let's see if I can do that, some chairs there and other couches. So that kind of seating is scattered throughout the entire promenade area where the buffets were served. So people could spread out. They could sit in people's booths. They can sit at, these round tables that are shown on the screen. But, and actually, let me go back and let me take this down real quick, or I'll do that in a second. I'll show you those pictures again. All right, so here's for lunch as well. They put tables outside. So even those ones I showed you inside, there were tables outside. They're spaced out. There's probably, it looks like 6 tables per table. So that was another option as well. So now I'm going to take my screen off and just do this and show it again. So see how this table seating is here? I'm going to stand up. So you have a lot of that around, and then you've got some more couches and chairs right there, that high boy table there. And then over here, you've got some round table with some chairs and some other couches and chairs. And that is that dining area over there as well. So that seating is available throughout the entire promenade. So people have plenty of space to space out and eat. So now I want to show you one other, so ancillary events. I got to go on a tour with Lip Smackin' Foodie Tours the other night, and I have to tell you, it was an absolutely wonderful experience. But before I get there, I want to show you some things. I got invited to a statewide brunch on the first day that I arrived, and it was at a restaurant. And I had emailed in, hey, can you accommodate a gluten-free vegan? I never got a response, so I went ahead and showed up because I had RSVP'd yes, and so I wanted to make sure that I did show up. This was the buffet going through. Nothing was labeled. I did walk through, and I found a server who was able to get me a beautiful salad with a bowl of berries and a side of um, sauteed vegetables. It was really, really delicious. So I was really happy about that. This is their buffet of desserts and some other dishes on here as well. Nothing was labeled. They did have this card that was on the table with all those desserts. So this was what was offered. I did ask chef if that gluten-free blueberry muffin was vegan, and he just kind of laughed at me. He's like, yeah, we don't use vegan butter in this restaurant. So, which at first I was taken aback, but then I'm like, okay, you know what, I am in this restaurant, that's not what they do. So I didn't eat that gluten-free blueberry muffin this month, so I would come back and eat it in another month. But if you're worried about cross contamination, you can actually see that it's actually up there on that same table as everything else. Um, this was another event that I attended one of the nights, and this is a presentation I see a lot. This is Mediterranean display, and everything on this Mediterranean display is all on one label. And that just drives me bonkers because one, you can't tell which of the dips is which. You probably can tell that they both contain dairy, but nothing on that label actually shows you what is what and what's in it. So I was highly disappointed with that. There's a zoom in of that Mediterranean display. So farro tabbouleh, that's got gluten in it. Turkish nut and yogurt, that's tree nuts and yogurt and milk. Stuffed olives, what are they stuffed with? Don't have any idea, but everything is vegetarian. So that was from one event. Now this is my lip smack and foodie tour. And this was an awesome experience. I went and I told them I was gluten-free vegetarian, and they had a set menu for everybody else. And then for me, I got this beautiful display of this is the non-gluten-free vegan beets over here, which had a goat cheese on it. I got it over here without it on it. I got a nice salad presentation, delicious. And that's an overshot of everything. And I got some beautiful cauliflower. And this is the restaurant shot that we were in. This is my gluten-free vegan. So the one on the left is the gluten-free vegan version of what they served me at the second restaurant. So on the first restaurant, at this restaurant called Therapy, they had a chicken meatball. They had you smash that brie on top of that crudité. You had a bacon wrapped something, and then you had a chicken and red velvet waffle slider. This is my option over here. I mean, I had roasted beets with arugula. I had roasted mushrooms. I had a beet dip with farro chips, not farro chips. Oh, I forgot the name of the chips. But then I had a vegan taco, which was jackfruit, and so delicious. I was highly impressed by what the team at Lip Smack and Foodie Tours, how they work with their restaurants to serve everybody that's there. So I'm going to remove the slide and come back. So overall, I think, again, I'm not bashing this event in general. Or personally or whatever, I'm just saying this is things that I see across conventions across the board, right? But I do like the different styles of presentation that Caesars came up with. I do like that they do have some options. There were not a lot of gluten-free options across the board on a lot of the events. One of the breakfasts, the only thing that was gluten-free vegan was a bowl of fruit. There was a vegan dish that was served on farro that if they just replaced the farro with quinoa, it could have been gluten-free vegan. So just thinking through some of those things is kind of really important. All right. So now I'm going to add myself over here. I'm going to remove. mic. I'm turning my mic on and my mic off there. So give me a thumbs up or somebody. Megan, no audio now. Okay. Megan, let me know if you got the audio now, if you can hear me now. Lost audio. All right. Can anybody hear me now? You are muted. Okay. Hang on. I'm going to put my Bluetooth AirPods connected. So can you hear me now? So there's the seating for the lunches, and they were actually. Oh, all right. So I'm having problems with my audio doing this. So hopefully there was a buffet set. There's buffet set up over there, and lots of space. As you can see, there's lots of seating around. And you can see that there's a seating in this Canada area. So they've got high boys, they've got low seating as well. So that's great for individuals who might be utilizing wheelchairs. And you've got these high boy tables over here. So, and then up here, as we get up here, you can go eat Skittles with Freeman if you want as well. Some little tiny seats here. So there is seating around all the way around the entire promenade. And even they have this coffee bar over here, which the other night they changed the signs out and it said wine bar. So you've got these high boys here that individual people can sit in or stand at. And then these big, nice, comfy chairs. And then Caesars has got some over here as well. And then here's some other high boys. So I think they've done a great job in providing seating for people so that it's spaced out and it is not too crowded anywhere. And again, there was not a seated and served lunch at all. All the receptions were buffet passed. All the lunches were buffet as well. So, but we've got, and here's a whole nother section. This is from New Orleans. You know, they've provided a lot of different seating options in their booth as well. So as you can see, there's lots of places to sit and eat. So I hope you guys have enjoyed this. I think, again, as we get back, we really have to think about, you know, what are we serving? What are the dietary needs of our attendees? How can we mix and match them? Even if it's gluten-free vegan, what can we do? Right? I spent some money at Whole Foods. A couple of people left and ate elsewhere because they were gluten-free and they couldn't eat. So thinking about how we do that. And one of the attendees that I was chatting with the other day, she's like, I'm back where I am by myself. Food is our basic essentials that we need. And so how do we make sure that we're meeting those needs of everybody? It's so the most common basic need that we have. So how can we use food and beverage, our number one expenditure, to create an experience that's fabulous for everyone? So now I'm going to go over here. I'm going to leave this, come back over here. MacBook Pro. So how's that? Can you hear me now? So I'm just going to say, and my sound is probably louder now, background now loud is louder. But thank you very much for listening. And I think we just need to make the efforts to make our food and beverage more inclusive. All right. Bye. Have a good day.
It doesn't have to be.
Okay, so I'm hoping that I came back and you can hear me, but I want to just say thank you so much for listening, and until next time, stay safe and eat well.